I go to work and work from home, but yeah, I'm still fucking broke. Tried every side hustle, passive income is a joke. Spent hundreds on subscriptions, my bank's in the hole. Should've listened to Grandpa when he said money isn't pimping hoes. Sick of all the scammers on the internet, make $1 million, no skills, bull fucking shit. FOMO got me tripping, ads promise get rich. Next one I see, I swear I slap that little bitch. Oh yeah. Sick of all the scammers on the internet, make $1 million, no skills, bull fucking shit. Next one I see, I swear to God, I slap that little bitch. Oh yeah. Sick of all the ads on the goddamn internet, make $1 million, no skills, bull fucking shit. Next one I see, I swear to God, I'll slap that little bitch. I go to work and work from home, but
Shout out to King Felix for the little music there. Welcome, chatters. It's 1:15 a.m. California time. I like these late night streams. These are my favorite. They've become my favorite. My favorite way to express myself, to put forth some great ideas. And tonight's I'm going to read Photo Guy's latest Substack, and I've developed a whole rebranding of the DOA brand here as I kind of figure out what I want, how I want to do it. And Photo Guys, and I don't mean to steal his content, I only mean to add more art to it. And so hopefully Photo Guy, I'm not in touch with Photo Guy. I really appreciate what he's doing because he's doing his own thing, and I don't want to have, well, I do affect what he says, and he does affect what I say. And so it's a, to me, that's art, to build off of another, to take and build. And so I don't mean to take, but to build off of and to create correspondence and to create. Yes, I did see that, but I just want to say that out loud. And like, I don't like the possession of things. And to me, I live in a world of abundance, and like all my videos and everything, I really wanted people to take, and I believe in free speech. And there is a line between free speech and defamation. And defamation is one of the oldest torts. And to take my content to defame me, I have issues with that. And so I've changed my mind, and as I've learned about defamation, and as I've been a recipient of defamation, and I've had it affect me on multiple different layers. I've come to really, I'm really grateful for the cause of action of defamation. And I could talk about all the things, and I could try to counter what everybody says is lies, and really the only true recourse, oh damn, mini hoodie girl, I think I remember you. The only real recourse is through the court system, and Aaron, I'm suing Aaron, and my sister's about to get a lawsuit here, and I know I keep on saying it, but it's almost done. It's a lot to put together a court case. It's a lot to be factual in what you say and not rely on secondhand sources. You have to have firsthand sources, and that's hard. A lot of people don't understand that. And my rebranding is preparing myself for the next stage, and the next stage is my story being told on much larger platforms than my own. And I'm ready for it. I know that my time will come, and I'm building the foundation for it. And some of that foundation is doing these causes of action in court, pleading it factually, and going after in a courtroom, not on the internet. And I've tried the back and forth. I've tried all that, and it just doesn't. It just recycles itself. It's the same people. Some people have. It's been 4 years, over 4 years now. Some people, and they just cross over and everything. And truthfully, I don't mean to sound cocky or better than anybody, because I don't feel better than anybody, but I'm better than all of that. And no matter what anybody says, I know that when it comes to actually following through and actually bringing court cases against Scientology and against LAPD, that I am the one doing it. And all these others are just distractions. And so I've lost my way, and I've allowed a lot of it to distract me. And I am doing my best. I'm going to do my best to move through all that. And I've said this 100 times. Like, I really have. And so there's been there's already been some changes that can't be seen and won't be seen and won't even be talked about. There's some final purges that have occurred, and I'm not even going to talk about it because I don't need to talk about it. I've talked about it before, and the bridge burning and the purges are something that has made my channel what it is. Old Norse, I have sent 2 communications in Chicago. They're for defamation per se. There is not a demand letter necessity in Cook County, but I have done something in writing via text messages, and I do believe it got it to stop, but there was no correction, and the damage has already been done. And so there's I'm moving forward with it. It's very detailed, very more detailed than I could have ever imagined. What has been said and how many different places it's been said. And there'll be another wave of defamation suits. And my best course of action is to not respond to anything. Just let it be said, let everything be said, and let everyone I'm just going to hand them as much rope as possible, and they could all hang themselves off the trees with all the rope they have. And that is my path forward. And I'm fully aware of it. And I'm destined for great things here. And that's not me being cocky. It's me being confident in what I have, what I put together. And it's not just it's we. And I hate saying we, because I hate listening to channels like we, my team, and everything, but it is we. And not we, like it's just a group of people who most of them are behind the scenes. And a lot of them have to be, because there's been so many attacks on people who support me that people have had to step away. And a lot of people did not stand up and they continued to just kind of play neutral as attacks happened. And so I'm fully aware of who those people are, and I'm not okay with that. Because all the people have been compartmentalized and attacked individually to erode support. And a lot of it's been successful, but a lot of people have just stayed completely behind the scenes, and they're more determined than ever to help. And I'm so grateful for that, because I'm in a position that I have this group of people that are just really fucking amazing. And most of them are behind the scenes, and they don't want to be in the scenes because everyone gets attacked. So, and I'm going to be running a real tight chat here again. We're going to, I think I'm going to make some new rules. We're going to work on this, saying hi to everybody again. I gotta keep the chat as elite as possible. And so one of those things is the highs. I appreciate everyone coming and saying hi and being excited. There's something about that just rubs me fucking wrong. And so chat's just going to get some verbal lashings, and you're just going to have to, you're not going to feel like you're not going to feel like you're being attacked, because that's some of like a tough love, right? And yes, I love this building our community up. And I don't know, I don't want to be part of like anti-Scientology community at all. And even in my San Luis Obispo lawsuit, I was using anti-Scientology, but the other day I was writing, I was like, I don't like this. This is not, it's such a negative, it's such a, like I don't know, there's something dirty about that word. And so I'm not sure how I want to define it. And I don't want to be part of a group or anything. I want to stay highly compartmentalized, and I don't want to share my friends with everybody. I want to keep them all separate from each other. And that's how I've always been, like through high school and shit, like in college. Like I didn't try to cross my friends over with other friends. My frat friends, I didn't try to bring them over to the lacrosse. My lacrosse friends, I didn't try to bring them over to the frat house. The guys I was selling weed to, I wasn't trying to take them to the frat house or the lacrosse house. The girls I was hanging out with, I wasn't trying to introduce them to all my friends. I just kept everybody separate, and it just made everything easy. Because when I just remember my one friend, I brought him over to the frat house, one of my high school buddies, one of my snowboarder friends, and like he was like my party snowboard friend. And like I just remember him like all drunk, and like I woke up and he's like standing up, like trying to piss on one of my frat brothers. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And he was just like drunk, like just about to take a piss on my friend and Timko, the fucking roommate, as he's fucking sleeping on the futon. Like there's beer bottles, there's a 3-foot bong laying on the table and everything. He's just pissing, and then like then later on he's like pissing, and he went down the hallway and he's like in the one room of one of the bigger guys, and he's like just pissing in the room. I'm like, dude, Joe, what the fuck are you doing, bro? And I was like, okay, I don't want to mix my friends. And this is how I've had a lot of issues with the mixing. And I make these friends and I like them being my friends, and I don't want to share my friends because then shit gets fucking weird. It's like even like with having like a girlfriend or something, and then you have the friends, like you like make friends with your girlfriend's friends, and then like you break up, and then it's like then it becomes fucking difficult. Right? Well, I trust people, and I give people the benefit of the doubt, and a lot of times I let a lot of things slide when I know that I shouldn't. And by the time I like completely recognize how fucking fucked they are, or how manipulative they are, or how like little rattlesnakey they are, it's too late. And I see the propaganda and all that shit. Good propaganda, if it's propaganda, works by compartmentalization. One hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing, but in terms of safety and security, it's some of the best way of handling shit. And so I am my own thing. I am not part of a group, and I kind of tried to build up this whole group, and it really backfired on me, and I don't want to be in that position again. And I'm on like this mission, and my mission is my mission, and there's a lot of people that are supporting me because my mission aligns with their missions, and each person has different missions. They have different goals in life, or different the different ends or means to a different end. And so that's where I'm at. So I just want to read this, and I read this. This is Photo Guys. This is Substack. You can find him on Substack. I really appreciate his writings. Some of it's right over my head, and I love that because it makes me go and look and try to understand things. I love the verbiage. I love the candor. I self-reflect on some things. But I appreciate it, and I feel like his writings are making me level up and taking me to the next step. And what I've been through is the next bricks and minifigs. How the bricks and minifigs thing has blown up for Reckless Ben. I'm preparing for that blow up, and it's going to come. I don't know exactly who is going to break it, but it's ripe for the picking, and I'm doing all the work ahead of time so that the content is there for the content creators. Thank you. Love those glasses. We're going to leave that one up for a bit. All right. And I'm not a lot of people that I've cut off or that I've separated from, it's not anything against them. It's me. And I have things that I'm destined to do. And I have boundaries. And one of my biggest boundaries is people that are like advocating for me to go into a cage or pushing for that in any way. Anyone being involved or associated with those people, I'm not going to associate with, period. And I give people time to identify that and see that. You haven't been here since DC, Connie? Well, welcome back. There's a lot of advice I didn't take along the way. There's a couple of people very specifically who really identified the hate train, and two people in my head, Tree Hugger and Are You Gelin? And they offered some really good advice that I didn't take. I should have taken. And reflecting back, it was unfortunately the path I had to take to get to this side, to get here. And sometimes you just have to ride the path. You have to take that path and learn from your own mistakes. And they were mistakes. And I justified it for a bunch of different reasons. And those justifications, with a little hindsight, were not good. And so shout out to both of them for really, and there was others. Iron Man was really vocal about it. I'm not devaluing anybody's who said anything, but those two, and then Iron Man are really fundamental into just realizing where I made my mistakes. Okay. And I thought I broke my fan. What's going on here? And I'm just trying to put this in words. I had to go through the path I did, and I justified things when I knew I didn't like them. And I thought voicing my opinion was enough, but voicing my opinion wasn't enough. I had to lead by example, and I didn't lead by example. And I think my experience is very unique, very, very unique. And I don't know if anyone's gone through my specific shoes, and I guess no one really goes through your specific shoes that you walk through. But I made my decisions the best I could, and a lot of them were not good decisions, and I take accountability for that. I'm not remorseful for it, but I take accountability that I could have done better. And in order to be a better person, I have to self-reflect, realize that I made the mistakes and that people were right, but there was nothing that they could do besides me taking the path that I took. And I do feel like I'm destined to do some really big things here. I always have thought that. And not that I'm better than anybody, but that I'm in the position to do it, where a lot of people aren't in the position. I've set myself up to not have a lot of responsibilities, to not have a lot of assets, to be able to take that hatred from people. And I've grown in so many different ways, just in my public speaking, my confidence, my court experience. All of it is important to where I'm at now. Even like my court experience in Chicago, how embarrassing it was what I did. I could never be where I am today without that embarrassing experience. And embarrassing because I didn't know what to do. I was so nervous. And at the time, I thought I was doing the best thing I could do. And it turned out to be awful, but it turned out to be an awful experience, but it turned out to be a life-changing, character-building experience. And, oh, thank you. Both of you, Kirby and ACM. And I thank that judge for putting me in jail. I had so much hatred for him for a long time, but I'm glad he put me in jail because I needed jail. I needed that path. I needed to be with them because that put me on a whole different path. And that was just the beginning of a path to West Virginia, into DC, the National Mall, Virginia Beach, Branson, Ohio, Austin, Texas, not Branson, Ohio, Branson, Missouri, Austin, Texas, all the way through Clearwater, or not Clearwater, but or Florida. And each experience has built on top of each other. And so here I am. And again, rebranding myself and trying to be better. And I've said a lot of mean things to a lot of people. I've said things that I can't take back. I don't know if I regret them as much as I just wouldn't do it again. Because at the time, it felt like the right thing to do. So let's get to the ribs of it. And the meat of it. This is DOA'S War, canceling the hate train. This is what the internet. So I'm like halfway. I'm not reading the whole thing. I'm skipping through some of it. This is where the internet hate channels come into play. And don't mind my butchering of big words. The photo guy is much more scholarly than DOA here. This is where the internet hate channels come into play. And its current integration into the cyber world, it becomes a powerful device to facilitate loose cannon humans' toxic behaviors, as well as to advance the latest victimhood narratives that seem to be all the rage this past decade. One way the claws are deployed and the trap is set and the internet abuse is accomplished is by using weaponized labels. Being a I know what the word means, like where you're like really learneth in it. But I'm gonna skip the word. I know the word though. Oh, thank you, Juju. I appreciate that. Afsiendo? Yeah. Learneth of language that interests me. I'm obviously not learneth of language. The irony of that. Normally, the words used are general terms usually intended to aid in clinical diagnosis. These terms have been systematically hijacked by pop psychology and by strange people, as best as I can describe it. The vocabulary being used sets up a way to examine how what is normally considered a clinical authority gets reinvented and appropriated by internet hate channels to protest other people with opinions, as well as to dodge personal accountability. Gaslighting. This has to be one of the most overused, abused, really, and weaponized words on the internet. It results in a clinical term now becoming content creator shorthand for any disagreement or difference in opinion. A difference of opinion or even a white lie is automatically labeled as gaslighting. It's a deliberate dilution of the term by individuals who specialize in sowing division. The term is hijacked from its intended therapeutic use, indicating a systematic, prolonged pattern of malicious psychological abuse meant to undermine and to erase a targeted individual's reality. Casting doubt on the individual is now the intent. Character assassination. In the hate channel's incarnations, the medical definition is repurposed, if not erased completely. By controlling the narrative, all the leverage in these parasocial relationships is turned over to the individuals spewing the bullshit. The outright lies, the half-truths, the innuendos, what these content creators stream terms research. The end result is that by controlling the narrative, all personal accountability for the use of one's words that are used to abuse a targeted individual is avoided. By casting a dark internet shadow over the targeted individual, the abuser avoids self-reflection, which is the ultimate goal. Looking inward is counterproductive to reframing interpersonal frictions and instituting a targeted psychological attack. Avoiding self-reflection allows the abuser to avoid admitting to their personal bad conduct and also from taking accountability for the bad actions or intentions they propagate. The bad actions mostly take the form of the hater or mocker engaging in a malicious manipulation of what would normally be truthful facts of information. They use hedging words that give plausibility to what they're alleging to be factual and impeachable. The goal is simple: introduce plausible deniability. They soften the lie just enough so that the accusation or statement is not critically examined by the audience it's directed towards. They place the onus on the target so that if there is a reaction, they can easily claim the targeted individual is overreacting. This effectively shuts down any debate about the allegations or misdirection presented as being factual versus an outright misrepresentation. It's basically a conversation stopper. Debate and critical thinking is effectively canceled. The hate mocker detests conflict resolution. It's honest and healthy and non-toxic, all counter to the emotionally negative environment the hate mocker is attempting to cultivate to make themselves feel better about themselves, to rationalize their bad behavior, and to make the target feel intimidated, fearful, anxious, angry, worthless, and much more. The high contrast framing highlights perfectly the commercial incentive that's created from these hate channels. It is indeed the manifestation of the internet hate economy. If the hate mocker alters their content to something more productive and positive, not necessarily monetary, the content stream dies. Some people might argue it's purely monetarily driven. I postulate that this is not always the case. It could be psychologically driven. Some people just like to hate and to mock and to cause interpersonal chaos. And I see that the drama brings in views. I see that, and I don't want those views. I like to have the drama when I'm like bullhorning and when I'm actually engaged in the act of the protest because there's some value in calling out the bad actors and there could be humor in it and it's highly effective. And so I'm evaluating where that where my style, which is highly effective, crosses over into the back and forth bickering with a bunch of NPCs. And so moving forward, I have to really be able to define where it begins and where it starts and make some boundaries for myself of when I can engage in it and when I can't engage in it. And like all boundaries are just they kind of move around and change by situation. It's very situational, and that's what law is. Law is very situational. There's so many different situations that one thing may apply or may not apply, and so it's really important to just have a very like narrow set of evidentiary rules and how evidence is entered, because it's important because each case is usually factually different. I mean, there are definitely cases that are pretty much the same, but every case has a little extra to it. And a lot of times we will blame the justice system for not fully understanding the rules of evidence and and our lack of knowledge of the court system a lot of times make us feel like something's not fair. But in fact, I feel like the rules of evidence are pretty well they may feel very unfair, but but they're not. They're it's like a tried and true way to get to the truth and not to allow things that are not truthful to come in. And do guilty people get off of things because of that? Yes. But there's safeguards that are there for the innocent, because it's not really the guilty that you're worried about, it's the innocent that you're worried about. And there's safeguards in those evidentiary rules that are based on hundreds and hundreds of years of law. Some biblical, some like ecclesiastical law. Like, as much as people don't want to say that there's a separation of church and religion, or church and state, the bar certified lawyers and judges follow canon laws, and canon laws are religious doctrines of some type of moral turpitudes. And that might not make any sense to some people, and to others it might. And like when you get into the Bible, or even like the Masonic Bible, the 33 degree Bible, and their version of the Bible, and their understanding of Deuteronomy and Judges, in the law within it, a lot of the framework of the law is based on like religious things. As much as we want to hate it or not hate it, that's the reality of it. Some people just like to hate and to mock and to cause interpersonal chaos. If the hate marker is called out, there is never a factual correction. If the targeted individual protests the misrepresentation, or they demand a correction or retraction, the hate mocker immediately labels the typical response, a perfectly normal reaction to the targeted attack, a gaslighting. The reality is that an individual engaging in normal behavior patterns. It's horrible reading off the phone. The reality is that an individual engaging in normal behavior patterns and reacting in a normal fashion to targeted harassment is now painted in a false light as being abnormal. The abnormal person engaging in extended and intensive hate mocking is claiming normalcy while labeling the actual normally reactive person as being abnormal, the aberration. Painted in a false light. I've really, I have to thank Mandy for her gaslighting of Louis Repetto. And because of that, I was able to track down, with the help of some amazing people, the court case that Mandy was involved in, where she falsely accused a man of numerous rapes. And I had not known about what false light is. False light is a tort of defamation. It is it is the basis of some of defining narratives of defamation, where you paint them up into a picture that they're not of what they really are. And so I'm it's interesting he's using that false light, because I've really become aware of it, and I become aware of how a lot, and now false light is not recognized in all states. There's a couple different types of defamation. There's defamation by false light. There's defamation per se. There's defamation by implication, and there's defamation pro quid. And so not every state is different on what they define as defamation. And in some states, just defamation on its own is some of those defamatory things. And I really think that they're all important. And it's been interesting to see what's been done to me, and where I like just have a much better understanding of why each of those standing alone, are important, because it is what gaslighting is. Those four torts are, and a tort is like just a wrong or a claim, right? It's nothing fancy. It's just the fancy word of saying someone is fucking you over. They fucked you over. And it is, those four torts are how people gaslight people. And so I thank Mandy for her false allegations on Louis Repetto, and the false allegations on the people, that the poor man in Seattle, who helped a woman leave the club, and she wanted something more, and what that turned into was a defamatory campaign against him, and he wrote the lawsuit against Mandy, and I appreciate that he did, because it was at that moment I had a better understanding of what was happening to not only Lewis but myself also. Some of the common words used to build a false narrative are maybe, perhaps, likely, probably, just, clearly, and obviously. And so those are, yeah. You missed allegedly. Allegedly is a big one. Maybe and perhaps are used to plant the false narrative as simply a suggestion versus an outright lie. Probably and likely are utilized to assert likelihood over actual fact. Just is one of the most powerful words. It minimizes bad behavior. And this is really interesting. And these are a qualifier. I was so bad in English, so I've been like trying to like, I believe these are all qualifier words. And in the legal terms, that's what they're saying. And allegedly is like a qualifier. I'm trying to think of my sister. She had said a couple things. Oh, what did she said? I kid you not. I kid you not. It's just my opinion. Well, now that's where the defamatory language is pretty interesting, because, well, there's hyperbole, and I don't think I fully understand what hyperbole is, where you speak in hyperbole, in a hyperbole. Yeah. Like, and that's the difference from giving an opinion and giving a fact. And these qualifiers are where you really get into like the defamation by implication. It just means a gross exaggeration. Yes, and so when you have like an exaggeration, it no reasonable person would believe it. And that's where you get into like where law is really complicated. Because what a reasonable person believes is up to the jury and or the judge. And so you'll see a lot of statutory law based on what a reasonable person believes. I want to read this again. An exaggeration of an event or statement. Maybe and perhaps are used to plant the false narrative as simply a suggestion versus an outright lie. Probably and likely are utilized to assert likelihood over actual fact. Just is one of the most powerful words. It minimizes bad behaviors. I'm just kidding. You're just overreacting. You're just being sensitive. You're just misunderstood me. I love that. Just. Interesting. Way to go, photo guy. Making me a wordsmith too, man. Words are swords backwards. The S to the W. The A, B, C, D, L, M, N, O, P. Another way to manufacture a subjective false narrative is to use words like clearly and obviously. The goal is to create the idea that the narrative, as presented, is an undeniable objective truth. It's the ultimate hate mocker's narcissist ego trip, implying that if one doesn't agree with the narrative, they're not intelligent or that they lack perception. The use of clinical and weasel words by a malicious hate mocker manipulator throwing shade is a very common tactic. It advances the pathological need to control people as well as to utilize and weaponize unearned authority. They commonly self-diagnose and instantly attain victim status. Anyone who challenges them is immediately labeled the abuser, the attacker, the bad person. Especially so if it's the targeted victim calling out the bullshit lies propagated by the hate mocker. You're a racist, you're homophobic, you're a misogynist, you're a man-hater, you're a stalker, you're prejudiced, you're MAGA, you're Antifa. God, this is amazing, photo guy. Like, this is just putting into words everything. Yeah, it's really, I love this. I'm not trying to blow smoke up photo guy's ass or love bomb him in any type of way, but I just appreciate him putting this on paper and describing it the way that he is. The list is unlimited and extensive and unending. It's always a finger pointing outward away from the hate mocker internet bully. Maxing. It's never a free and open mind looking inward and meaningful introspection. It's also the classic boy who cried wolf counterattack. Usually the hate mocker deploys the overreaction gambit. Questioning the internet bully's motivations and intentions is incredibly difficult to publicly combat. The hate mocker's audience is mustered up to quash comment and to directly attack and to intimidate. Even other hate mocker channels are collectively engaged, aligning to institute a multi-front, coordinated, targeted harassment attack. The targeted individual or institution has little chance of surviving the onslaught, except by using the legal system as a remedy. In the realm of the hate mocker's universe of silence and cancellation, the false claims remain intact. Ultimately, it's simply weaponized language, therapy speak. Neurotic personalities engage in neurotic behaviors and engage in a systematic attack intended to character assassinate and to cast a shadow of doubt on individuals that they do not like. As I explore in my introduction, modern bad actors, internet hate mocker creators, attempt to hijack all authority of others to speak or to voice an opinion counter to theirs. They verbally code these verbal attacks and manipulations by ironically using words like coded language. It's cancel culture, pop psychology, linguistic nonsense. The weaponizing authority on everything right pulls out the ultimate weapon, therapy speak, the highly coded language used within relationships, workplaces, and on the internet hate channels. Here's the bottom line gist of it. The hate mocker uses coded vocabulary to disguise their true motives. They assert some authority by taking another individual's words out of context. They cherry pick sentences and words and vocabulary and then weaponize it, hoping their audience doesn't pick up on their use of coded words as subterfuge to spread chaos and instead perceive the hate mocker's interpretation as correct thought. This disguised intent is very cultish. There is a distinct and detectable mask applied to the words examined in the deliberate attempt to undermine the opinions and the ideological positions, and even just simple exploration of topics of the targeted individual. Statements such as setting boundaries, or I'm just protecting myself, or there's no reason to respond to the question, are all coded narrative meant to avoid examining the truth as it exists in reality versus the lie that is made up in fantasy, a non-reality. In this manner, the hate mocker maintains the power of the lie. The misrepresentation stands as truth, and the non-critical thinking cult-like audience feeds off of the disinformation. This idea that coded language is symbols, phrase, or words that carry secondary meanings hiding a message that only a specific subculture interprets and understands is a point of fact, a reality, but it's how the hate mocker interprets the use of words as being coded that creates the fiction. Well, and see, this is what I've learned from all my restraining orders and all the time in court. You could use all the codes you want. You could use a fake name or some type of filler for the word, but the first thing the judge is going to do is they're going to ask you, is this them? Is this who you're talking about? Who are you talking about? And I've seen that happen. I've seen that happen in court with my bail revocation hearing, where they were saying something about Jazzy, and the judge was just like, and it was about it wasn't about a cat, it was a rabbit, but the judge just instantly saw through all the bullshit, and my lawyer said dog, I said cat, they said rabbit, and it didn't matter. It all meant one thing. The defendant's cat. Me. Same with Jay Lynn's. Same with the Fort Wayne with Jay Lynn. Same exact thing. Jazzy is the cat. Jazzy Jambalaya. Okay. You can't like substitute that. Same with the ZDT Solomon stuff. There, he was calling him a different name. He was just like using a different name, and the judge just instantly focused in on it and just cut right through all that bullshit. It's like, this who you're talking about? This is who you're talking about. Okay. Every place, it doesn't, just because you substitute it and you try to be like cute, that doesn't take away the defamatory sting. And I've definitely been guilty of this myself, but I'm aware of it. And yeah, I'm aware of it. Because it doesn't, the words are being coded that creates a friction, not fiction. Not every word an individual uses is coded, and not every word someone dislikes is coded. It's pure nonsense. It's weaponizing vocabulary with the intention of spreading false information and attempt to engage and enrage the cult audience and provoking negative reaction from them that is then directed toward the person who used a particular word. It's very fucking stupid. This is Photo Guy's comments. It's also a very effective tool utilized to spread dissent and to cause trouble for others. Certain hate mocker bully internet content creator channels use it exclusively to sow discord, while others see the words as harmless or even factually correct and provable. The cult attendant sees them as inflammatory and evil. Dog whistling is the algorithmic camouflage used by bad actors as a core tactic of online internet extremists to hijack and misuse what are actually ordinary words, items, and memes. They appropriate them and attach secondary hateful meanings. The idea, and it is a reality, but not an absolute, that these innocent words slip by AI filters and moderators so that platform bans are avoided. This allows the content creator an uninterrupted revenue stream and the need to constantly fight bans when people target their channels for retaliation, an all too common occurrence. This is precisely how political groups are singled out and targeted for cancellation by opposing political groups. A frog named Pepe suddenly becomes a symbol of a terrorist group. Unfortunately, in the age of digital warfare, coded language has devolved from its historical roots. Political rhetoric, and for some strange reason, film critic analysis, something beyond my understanding, the hate mockers and pop culture armchair internet therapists, relationship framing. This is how Pepe the Frog is appropriated. Matt Fury creates Pepe in 2005. Pepe is a goddamn cartoon, people. It's a stoner humor comic book boys club. Somehow Pepe the Frog is appropriated. Some morons hijack Pepe. Fringe users on anonymous boards like 4chan start altering the image. Soon Pepe is a Nazi. He joins the Ku Klux Klan. Pepe becomes sort of a cartoon version of Archie Bunker hopped up on hate steroids, a bigoted character meant to shock people and to create inside jokes for a bunch of sick, malcontent weirdos. The tactical goal is obfuscation. When MSN and social media platforms react or overreact to a green frog, the misappropriated agents of chaos can mock these adversaries' obvious stupidity. Who could have guessed this weaponization of a green frog could become so vitriol and volatile? The weaponization becomes so severe that the ADL adds poor misunderstood PP onto their hate symbol manifest. ADL. Photo Guy, seriously, man, can you just not be using such big words? Fuck. These are like a little too big for the DOA. Please and thank you. Thank you. It's insane. Completely and utterly insane. You're setting me up for failure for people to make fun of my lack of vocabulary use. It's insane. Completely and utterly insane. Well, you see, Willard, in this war, things get confused out there. Power, ideals, the old morality, and practical military necessity. Every man has got a breaking point. You and I have. Walter Kurtz has reached his, and very obviously he has gone insane. General Corman. Yes, sir. Very much so, sir. Obviously insane. Willard. I'm not sure where those quotes are from. I'm assuming some movie. I'm not sure. Over my head. Beyond the use of numerology, memes, and certain words of symbols to signify allegiance or affiliation with a particular subgroup is the subculture aesthetics attached to products or cultural trends and styles. Mizzy, you can't be saying hi to everybody. You're probably just waking up and getting yelled at. No, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just enforcing new chat rules that are going to be arbitrary and talked about sometimes. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Did you hear the newest gossip about me being the worst? That people just can't stand me and they wish I was cursed. You heard about me, you heard my name, but truth and lies are not the same. Because I'm a runaway train, I got nothing to lose, no one to blame, no one to answer to. It's too late now, I'm too loud. Can't shut me down, can't shut me out, can't shut me down, can't shut me down. I know that I'm not the only one, there's others out there with me. So I gotta keep on keeping on. I owe it to myself, I owe it to everyone. It can't shut me down, can't shut me I know that I'm not the only one, there's others out there with me. So I gotta keep on keeping on. I owe it to myself, I owe it to everyone. You heard but truth and lies are
Oh, I need a little laugh. Look at G being mean. Missy's like, I wrote the lyrics, though. The AI did everything else, but I wrote the lyrics. There was human interaction there. She's like, shut the fuck up. This shit sucks. Turn the fucking headphones down. Write a blog on Substack, god damn it. Missy's gonna be a victim now, god damn. I was trying to counter me being an asshole to Mizzy coming in by playing her fucking AI music, okay, Chi? What the fuck? They must be right about you. You're just a bully. When I actually research it, I'm astonished by the subtext I apparently been missing. Mainly because I'm not involved in politics or social activism or social disobedience. Or be a complete disturbing influence on society with no redeeming qualities to speak of. I'm just an idiot with an opinion and some free time. Well, I'm just an idiot. That was perfectly. Did you put the "and" there to quantify the being an idiot, or was that just a simple spell check? I like the use of the word there. It's like a little troll of yourself. I find humor in that mistake, if that was a mistake, or if that was purposely put there. I think it's ingenious. Either way, it's perfect. I'm just an idiot with an opinion and some free time. I also state what I think. I use the goddamn words I want to, when I want to. I speak on subjects that interest me. Fuck everybody's team. This is precisely why I'm not on YouTube, the epitome of pussy whoop, cancel culture, censorship, or X. It's "and" though, A-N-D. He has an "and" before the idiot, so I think it's perfect. And I would never change that just because it fits so perfect in that. People will sell their voice for ducat or some fleeting social recognition. Not me. Ducat? What the fuck is ducat? Is that another misspelling, or is that a word or am I an idiot and I don't know the words? People will sell their voice for ducat or some fleeting social recognition. Ducat, D-U-C-A-T. Is that a word I don't know, or is that a spelling mistake? For ducats? Oh, it's a ducat. Oh, people will sell their voice for ducats. Isn't ducat, or some fleeting social recognition? Ducats, D-U-C-K-E-T-S. I think it's D-U-C-K-E-T. Ducats. Ducat. Oh, ducat is a gold coin? Oh. I fucking love it. Okay. It's my unlearned self not knowing fucking words. Trying to be a fucking spelling Nazi, the worst of the worst. Fuck me. Oh, fuck me. Sorry, photo guy. I'm just being a douchebag here. Symbols like the swastika are deemed hateful. Well, and what people don't know about the swastika is if you go to enough Native American museums throughout America at any of the Native American mounds, or what I believe are pre-Native American, I actually feel like the Native Americans stole them from some earlier civilizations. There are pottery ducats. I actually knew that. I'm saying I knew that. But you're going to find swastikas on all sorts of pottery. And why? Because it's basically just two lines crossed with some lines on the end. It's really not like in terms of just like basic like lines being drawn, like the swastika is just a cross with some lines that kind of show movement somewhere. Not even like, I know that there's the common like India thing that the swastika with the lines going the opposite way are peace, but I'm talking like Native American history. I'm talking about my own personal experience traveling to, who knows, hundreds of museums, and personally taking pictures and looking for the swastikas in the pottery. What do I believe it is? I believe it's Orion's belt traversing around the Northern Star. I believe it's symbolism of the stars. It's symbolism of the seasons. It's symbolism of the movement of the stars around the North Star, Polaris. But that's my belief. You can believe whatever you want. I like to add that into the swastika conversation. I didn't know the hate economy also relies on fashion as a signifier. A black polo shirt with yellow stripes is not a cad's British fashion trend. It becomes a far-right Proud Boy identifier. The company has to pull the product to survive the hate campaign directed at it. Haircuts are now signifiers. Apparently, the bowl cut is co-opted to identify extremists who have alliance to mass shooters' violent ideology. Boy, am I ever out of the loop. When I was a lad, it was Dad's easy way to cut my hair. He went to the barber. I went to Dad's kitchen chair. When the Beatles became all the rage, Pops went all freestyle with my hair. He thought the Beatles were losers, and no son of his was going to associate with losers in any manner or form. I couldn't even own a guitar. I do, however, have the entire collection of the Fabulous Fairy Freak Brothers in pristine condition, plastic bound. I'm willing to sell. It's insanity personified. Fat Freddy Freakowski is a trip. The cat is a menace, pissing in Freddy's shoe. Don't know what that means. I think my cat reads the comic books when I'm asleep. Rainbow is cat-coded. He's also a she. I named her Rainbow when all her siblings are killed and eaten by mean raccoon in a vehicle impound lot they're feralling around in. I observe her stand up on her two legs and look around just like the damn mean-ass raccoon looking for lunch. Rambo backs a hungry son of a bitch down. I adopt her soon after. I have a friend bound first. For my kindness and compassion, Rambo sometimes pisses in my moccasins. I have no clue why. I have no idea the coding word is so coded. I'm not on TikTok or Reddit or Discord or Instagram. I use X just to read others' work. I'm way out of the slang loop. My aesthetic vibe descriptor trait is unloop coded. I guess it's my non-complex social archetype. It's still better than squid coded. DOA sort of reminds me of Gretchen, the hyper idealist and liberal sister of Harper, the homeowner of the house where the Freak Brothers live. They wake up after a 50-year stoner sleep in the basement of the house. Must have been some good reefer. Gretchen lawyers them up and defends the freak squatters' housing rights, better jumping from one progressive activist cause to the next. She uses the law of the system against the system, even though it's her brother's house that's been invaded. The foil is perfect. Gretchen is a perfect metaphor for DOA, Defender of Ants, more or less, just saying maybe, possibly, obviously. For instance, as an example, say an LA writer uses the descriptor third world to describe a third world street vendor scene, actually based on experienced real-time third world conditions in actual third world countries firsthand. Is this accurate portrayal of a similar situation now occurring as normalcy in LA? Really coded language? Fuck no. It's an accurate descriptor of a common street scene in LA, one that historically is on the increase. The real coded language is seen in the stupidity of attempting a rather simplistic misdirection, trying to instantly categorize the third world's descriptive use as just using coded language and obviously revealing a racist nature. It's an incredible non-use of logic. The truth is much simpler. The characterization using therapy speak is total bullshit. An asserted misrepresentation. Basically nothing more than internet trash talk wielded and weaponized by an unsophisticated orator. Probably an ex-junkie, too. And I'd love to comment on this. When I came into LA and I went down into downtown LA around Griffith Park, is it Griffith? No, not Griffith Park. What's the park there with the water, or the big park there? It felt like a third world country, like down by the, and I haven't really been to many third world countries, but like that's what I had like imagined in my head, like from like videos and shows that open air market. And it's the piss and the shit And like when you walk over that so many times, like that's where you're like, okay, this is like a third world country. And I love like the free market. I love people not asking permission from government to exist and to survive and to cook and to feed. But I also like cleanliness to an extent. It doesn't have to be perfect. So I hold two different opinions on it. I don't want the government to come in with their heavy hand and regulate and permit everybody. But at the same time, I do want my public sidewalk to be public and for me to access it and to move freely along it. So yeah, but it's definitely got third world vibes. In fact, a little research can prove what generally constitutes the definition of third world, and that's completely ignored in favor of hate mock attacks. There's no critical thinking involved. There's no effort to actually understand the totality of the statement. Instead, it's taken completely out of context and weaponized. Truth and clarity is not the goal of the internet bully. They may actually even know what the reality is, but they instead deliberately choose to engage in black ops and institute a www smear campaign to enrage and engage their audience, maintain audience engagement, and often monetization or at least an ego boost. When analyzed carefully, the third world example, it becomes a wonderful, phenomenally concrete example of how the modern pop everything culture weaponizes everything. Forget objective historical definitions, critical thinking, and run straight to coded weaponization to whip up the ire of the cult audience. It's pedestrian thinking defaulting to identity-based character attacks. Mary Ma, what are you doing? Sup? You saying hi to everybody? I guess we could make general highs. I'm going to have to redefine my rules. We're allowed to say hi to chat generally, not specifically. Okay? That's where I'm drawing the line, fucking chatters. All right? This is new chat rules being implicated at 2:30 in the morning, East Coast time, West Coast time. And so I'm expecting everyone knows that. Anybody coming into any of my live streams from here on out should know that now that I've made this announcement at this time, this deep in the channel. Thank you very much. Intelligent people will see right through it. It's generalized hellos and not specialized hellos. We're trying to encompass a very safe chat here where everyone feels welcome and knowing that we are all equal, because all men and women are created equal. So, yes, let's not make anyone feel unwelcome here. Intelligent people will see right through it. Neurotic individuals need anger and hate and audience approval to fuel their emotional and intellectual weakness. And to maintain their fake authority. Fuck you, G. You motherfucker. Pinche. When I have to think about saying a phrase, I like freeze up. Pinche chamosa. How about that? The hate marker immediately takes the target words or activities and flips the script. Cabrona. They repeat it over and over. They seek additional mirrored voices as verification. Eventually, repeated enough, the lies begin to seem true, at least to non-critical thinking robo-humans. It's the target calls out the lies, misinformation, half-truths, and innuendos. The internet bully immediately flips the script. It's the target's character flaw. It's a classic and common technique used by less than stable individuals in an attempt to seem normal and emotionally balanced. What this tactic accomplishes is it shuts down any attempts of the target to explain themselves, to correct a false narrative. That normal defense mechanism is labeled as a negative personality trait. It's classic psychological warfare. The frame-up is based on the idea that the target being triggered, legitimate anger or distaste arising from being mischaracterized and lied upon, is dismissed as irrational and emotional behavior, an uncontrolled emotional outburst, a negative personality trait, instead of it being understood as a justified reaction to the internet bully bearing false witness. Pinche persona admirable. A normal human reaction is turned around and used against the target. This results in a clearly toxic environment. The simple act of demanding personal accountability suddenly becomes an unsafe threat to the hate mocker's physical or mental safety. It's a ridiculous display of internet insanity, personified and magnified and broadcast for the cult audience entertainment. It's nothing more complicated than the modern paradox created by digital cyberspace manipulation. By calling out the hate mocker and demanding accountability, it exposes the inverted safety gambit. If the targeted individual demands an explanation or a retraction or accountability of any kind, the script is flipped and the hate mocker is the victim, the one who is exposed to unsafe conditions, physical and or emotional. In effect, therapy speak turns the aggressor into the victim. They call accountability an attack because the truth scares them. They wound you and they then resent you for bleeding. Dr. Doyle on emotional distortion and gaslighting. They call accountability an attack because the truth scares them. They wound you and then they resent you for bleeding. It's also the classic example of the bully conundrum of they can give it, but they can't take it. Rudeness is the weak man's imitation of strength. Eric Hoffer. There's no unification with the target. There's no common ground with the target. There's no unity of thought with the target. It's a complete and total sowing of division and the deliberate creating of paranoid chaos. And the hate mocker and the cult audience relish in the disorder and the discord created. If you are an approval addict, your behavior is easy to control as that of any other junkie. All a manipulator needed to do is simple two-step process. Give you what you crave and then threaten to take it away. Here it be, breaker. The bully usually lays the hate foundation gravel by spewing forth lies, half-truths, and innuendos. They then lay the spiteful blocks of misrepresentation using what are really nothing more than absolutely universal pronouns. What are some of the most common ones? Everyone, when used in a sentence, everyone agrees you're shady as all fuck. Everyone thinks you're a racist asshole. God damn. Like, this is so... I really took to this article. Like, I really enjoy photo cult guys, like, articles. And I feel like he's making me a better person. That sounds so fucking weird. I've already used some of his stuff that he's talked about as understanding what's going on in my court case. Some of the specific policies and like the lineups, his little write-up about the lineups opened it up. And when I was talking to somebody, I was explaining how not the lineup, the show up. When the police did the show up on me, he really went into the nitty gritties of the show up. I'm pretty sure that was him. Yeah. And I took so much from that. And so I'm taking a lot from this specific article. Some of them I take some stuff from, but this one, I read it and I was like, oh, and then I had a conversation with a friend And a couple conversations with a couple people today, and I just realized, like, my path forward through all this is just complete, just a complete gray rocking of the trolls of, and it sucks because I find a lot of humor in a lot of it. And but this is even, I guess this is even like a troll reading this, because it definitely fits for well, very certain people, but a whole group of people. The frame up is based on the idea of the target being triggered, legitimate anger or distaste arising from being mischaracterized and lied upon is dismissed as irrational emotional behavior, an uncontrollable emotional outburst, a negative personality, instead of being understood as a justified reaction to the internet bully bearing false witness. A normal human's reaction is turned around and used against the target. The result is a clearly toxic environment. Toxic. He's toxic. Bitch, you're the toxic motherfucker. The simple act of demanding personal accountability suddenly becomes an unsafe treat to the hate mocker's physical or mental safety. Yeah. Some people are just bad kissers. That's just what it is. Like such a waste. There's lots of things I am. A bad kisser is not one of them. It's a ridiculous display of internet insanity personified and magnified and broadcast for the cult attendance's entertainment. The cult audience's entertainment. It's nothing more complicated than the modern paradox created by digital cyberspace manipulation. By calling out the hate mocker and demanding accountability exposes the inverted safety gambit. If the targeted individual demands an explanation or retraction or accountability of any kind, the script is flipped and the hate mocker is the victim, the one who is exposed to unsafe conditions, physical and or emotional. In effect, the therapy speak turns the aggressor into the victim. They call accountability an attack because the truth scares them. They wound you and then they resent you for bleeding. Dr. Doyle. It also is a classic example of the bully conundrum of they can give it, but they can't take. Oh, I already read all this. There's no unification with the target. Okay, if you are an approval addict, your behavior as is as easy to control as that of any other junkie. All a manipulator needs to do is simple two-step process. Give you what you crave and then threaten to take it away. Here it be breaker. Who's pulling your strings? The bully usually lays the hate foundation gravel by spewing forth lies, half-truths, and innuendos. What is said says more about the person saying it than the person it is intended for. Yeah, ACM. Thank you. Thank you for the fuck. What was the word? The gold. The Ducats. I did know that name. I think I know it from an old game I was playing, like Aladdin or something, way back in the day. What was the game? Ducats. Ducats. The bully usually lays a hate foundation in gravel by spewing forth lies, half-truths, and innuendos. Then they lay the spiteful blocks of misrepresentation using what are really nothing more than absolute universal pronouns. What are some of the most common ones? Everyone, when used in a sentence, everyone agrees you're shady as fuck. This creates a false consensus that isolates the target, may even make them seem crazy or dangerous. Never is another word often twisted. You never tell the truth. Always has a good deal of rhetorical power. You always make a scene labeling people bad actors. What's wrong with you? To force a false narrative, the hate mocker will often shift the focus away from the specific incident and then expand it into a permanent indictment of one's character using totalizing language that tantalizes the cult audience. The rhetorical manipulations and the tantalizing language drives the narrative in one direction. There's no rational debate. It's a one-way street to chaos and discord. It's always dead ends and disruption and distrust. The internet bully forces the focus away from the reality and the truth of a specific event or fact and widens the verbal manipulation. The lie. The total control of language to paint an indictment portrait of the targeted individual, which is always the target of having a flawed character. By shifting the focus to a permanent indictment of the targeted individual's character, the hate mocker, internet bully completely strips away the biblical content of a flawed but forgivable human, leaving behind only the executioner's narrative. You're a worthless piece of shit who must be destroyed for algorithmic profit. The idea is to make the target the problem by using reversing and deflecting phrases. The hate mocker turns the dialogue into the examination of the target's mental state, ideology, opinions, political affiliations, or whatever is handy. Anything other than an examination of objective facts. One of the key tactics is the infamous misremembering or imagineering tag. It strips all authority over that target's one's life. You're way off base imagining things that have never happened. This leads directly to the insane, crazy, paranoid phase with the hate mocker attaches an anchor to the target's baseline sanity in the hope of sinking any semblance of reality, blurring and distorting the target's factual experiences. The end result is that no matter what narrative the target offers, no one trusts it. When the boundary crosses an outright spin, a web of lies, the hate mocker internet bully is actually recontextualizing their own sketch behavior. It's usually followed with some form of this rationalization of their flawed character being the victim's flawed character. What I do and say is not the issue. You're just insecure. These linguistic mechanisms all have one common denominator: reframing. As a rule, the hate mocker always moves the conversation away from the objective event, what actually occurs, into some type of argument, debate, or condemnation about the target's psychological state of mind. React, and it's all over. Once the target starts defending their sanity, the hate mocker has complete control over the narrative. There is one defense: satire, sarcasm, parody. It typically goes right over their heads. One more counter technique is to plant misinformation for the hate mocker to latch onto and then run with it, weaving a false narrative based upon a false narrative, and attempt to undermine the target's character. That's the ultimate troll irony and the best humor possible. These hate mocker clickbait diagnostics drive social media algorithms that thrive on simplistic content. Stupid is as stupid does to gain views. I could think of at least 11 channels right off the bat whose entire existence depends on DOA bashing among a select few others. They're not nuanced at all. I think from what I've heard last night, DOA has it figured out. Just stay focused and busy on their goals already established. get some justice from an unjust justice system, corrupt law enforcement agencies, and a few assorted characters who insist on continuing the pattern of character assassination and defamation, even after being warned repeatedly of the consequences. I suppose hitting them in the pocketbook is the only solution. I agree, Photo Guy. I agree. Setting boundaries didn't seem to work. The actual clinical definition of boundary is for the individual to dictate exactly what they will do to protect their own inner peace. Unfortunately, the toxic internet culture driven by hate mock channels has flipped the definition. Now the term is utilized to dictate that someone else is allowed to do to what someone else is allowed to do to the targeted individual. Yeah, and so my boundaries, they've been very clear. My boundary is people talking about raping my mom or eating my family cat is not okay. People who are attempting to put me in a cage, any type of association with any people that are trying to put me in a cage is not okay. That's my boundary. That includes people talking about getting restraining orders against me, etc., etc., etc. A direct relationship, being okay with them, saying hi to them saying hi to you, and you not saying anything is my boundary. It's what defines my friendships and the people that I surround myself with. You don't have to stay around. You don't have to be my friend. It's totally optional. But those are my boundaries. They will remain my boundaries. Period. And if you want to be with those people for content and views and to grow your channel, best of luck. You're not going to be around me. Now, the term is utilized to dictate what someone else is allowed to do to the targeted individual. There is something known as a healthy boundary. It's like a roadmap for people interacting with the individual. It's essentially the blueprint for what one will tolerate, what one expects in an interpersonal relationship. It basically preserves autonomy while still permitting a human connection, intimacy, love, respect, and successful interaction. Boundaries are not insurmountable brick walls. They're not vehicles of absolute isolation. They're not weaponized control device. They are merely a schematic attempting to assure no one gets emotionally or physically damaged. True boundaries actually build bridges, not burn them. Unfortunately, sometimes people just don't seem to get the message, and bridges must burn. That's not a character flaw, it's a survival mechanism. I don't need a psychological degree to understand that there are narcissist sociopaths roaming the nation, and the only safe course of action is to create and to maintain distance. Sometimes there is no choice but to become proactive and to seek counsel and protection. The problem usually arises when these types of individuals just won't let it go. They parasitically attach and just won't stop feeding off of the emotionally unstable need to create misery, chaos, and discord in others' individuals' lives. When the hate economy rewards the type of behavior, it makes the world a much sadder place. The narcissist loves playing mind games with you. They will be sarcastic, snarky, cold, and downright mean towards you all day. But the second that you dish the same treatment back to them, all hell breaks loose. The community. Bravo, 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 fucking oh. That article really hit home. That one was well put together and has only put in concrete what I believe, what my future holds, and what my boundaries are. I will not veer off of my boundaries. And I'm very grateful for this last article. This one was really gave me the words and put it into words for me to. Sometimes I'm not recognizing the patterns, and sometimes putting that into words allows me to more recognize patterns that I kind of am seeing or that I'm unsure about. But that was a really good blueprint of how the defamatory narratives have been framed up against me. And I had talked about this before about ignoring the big defamatory campaigns going on, and that spilt into my courtroom and has seriously affected my health. It was a successful attempt of trying to stop me. It was unsuccessful ultimately. My body has paid the price. I was like stress eating before, but the first bail revocation hearing fucked my head up. It really fucked my head up. It muddied my relationship with the lawyer, and it was highly effective of what it did. And I don't want to give anyone credit, but that's just the reality of what that was. And I have not healed from that. I've not healed from, I've definitely gotten better, but I've not healed from that, that path that put me on with like eating and everything that created some type of trauma in me that was immediate, and it was lasting. And that was about a year ago. So that's been about a year. And I ebb and flow out of those feelings, but those feelings are definitely there. And they've definitely had an effect on me. And I feel good about doing the lawsuits. I feel like that is the proper course of action. And I have no regrets about doing any of these lawsuits, and it's played a lot on me with my family to get this lawsuit together for my sister, because I do not want to bring that upon my family. It's been an emotional struggle just putting that together. And I said this yesterday, but I'm very, words can't begin to express the help that my friend has done to put together the evidence matrix. That's what it's called. I'm not sure if that's what this legally called, but that's generally what it's called, is this matrix, which is basically just an Excel page, a couple Excel pages with a couple tabs. It's tabbed out. And I just think about my photos being used by my sister, my family photos that are meant for my like close friends when they come over and you sit down and you show like your old family photos. My sister used pictures from my middle school dance, my football picture, my freshman year, uh, even my freshman college picture of me playing lacrosse. I played lacrosse in college for 2.5 years, really 2 years, but those are all like my personal photos. She shared a picture of me at camp at my aunt's little cabin. She shared a picture of me in like my really awkward fifth, sixth grade Chicago Bulls shirt, stuff that you would share with like a girlfriend when they came over. Stuff that you would share, that those pictures are like on the wall in the house with all the different family pictures. Um, yeah, pictures of like my middle school dance, and those pictures were shared while people talked about me sticking drugs in my ass. Um, that my family doesn't talk to me, that I do drugs, meth, that I take from people who give to me, um, that I slept with girls, a lot of them unwilling. And I've shot back a few times, but for the most part, I haven't really said much about my sister, because there's a lot of things I could say that could be really exposing of her, things that are secrets. And I haven't told those secrets, and I'm not going to tell the secrets, even though I want to tell the secrets. Um, and so I thank you for helping me put that evidence matrix together. And they asked me to like identify um, how old I was in those pictures, and then identify those pictures, and that was hard, just doing that, just to um, process that. And there's like so much else that I got going on that when I process that, it has an extreme effect on my psyche. And I have been traumatized by that. There's most definitely trauma. And I've never really had trauma on anything. Like, I had a little trauma in, like, middle school with bullies, but then I fucking got all the neighborhood together, all the bullies that were all the people that were bullied by the bullies, and we went over to their house and beat the fuck out of them, and their little bitch asses, and hid behind their parents, and that was it. It stopped. And so that trauma didn't exist anymore because I righted that trauma, and I righted that trauma for a bunch of people in the neighborhood. And that was a big day for me of just like, and that was it. It stopped. It's like, your bitch ass, you hid behind your bitch ass ma. And my best attack is a defensive position and allowing everybody to continue with the defamation. And unlike me, a lot of people have a lot of things that are lienable, that are assets. And so continue with the defamatory narratives, because I'm not done doing what I'm about to do. Aaron was first, my sister is second, and there will be others. And you could say that I don't follow through, but I will follow through. To me, it's the ultimate troll. To put it on paper and to sit in the court. No, it's not even a shoe. I don't have to shoe, because it's not. It's just, if you're making defamatory statements about me, I will use the full force of the law to correct it and to stop it. And it's going to take months. I'm already months into the lawsuit with Aaron, and it's going to be months and months before any decision is even close to being rendered. It might be years. My friend Jay has been in a lawsuit for a very long time. Gotcha. That's my remedy, and I understand what defamation is. And the more it's being said, the false narratives that are being said about me, the more I understand how to counter it. And the quicker I could do it. And so there's lists being made, notes being taken. So continue on it. And I'm not participating at all. I am way above that. I'm not going to breathe, and I'm not breathing anything into any of it besides some offhand comments and some innuendos that are not defamatory, but are only making fun of. Because there is some relief with the humor behind it. I know there's relief for me. The hypocrisy, and with the hypocrisy comes humor. So I thank everyone for, like, yeah, I thank you for helping me with my sister's thing. I'm like, I'm so ecstatic that was put together and how thorough it was. They speak with anger, not humor. Yeah, that's right. That's right, man. That's right. Love you, man. Um, and when I speak with anger, it's bad. And so I have a lot to better myself on, and I will be better. And that's one thing I'm good at, is getting better at things. And it's been a wild ride through all this. And I thank Photo Guy too for what he put together there, because that really helped. And and my friend who I talked to the other day, she was just like a fresh of breath air, not involved with anything. She knew nothing about any of this, but she's an activist. and and my conversation with her, she kind of like tipped the tide of some of my thinking. And so this has been really good to come in, um, to just make it clear exactly what my path is. And my path is this legal route, and it's not as exciting, it's not as entertaining as my content before. My content later will be entertaining, but this process that I'm going through right now is trying to rectify all the defamation and to get remedy for how I was wrong, and to help stop it from happening again. One, from having my knowledge to be able to help others stop it, but specifically for the safe pointing of LAPD and Scientology, and then this community that claim that is called the anti-Scientology community. Yes, it's been a bunch of different people that I talked to that really just, yeah, there was a couple people that I talked to, ones that I've talked to a lot, and then someone that I've never talked to. And all those conversations helped me identify what helped me to identify what my goals and aspirations are. Um, and so I appreciate everyone who's stuck by my side. I appreciate all the little side missions that people have helped me with. I appreciate and I apologize for all the times I've said something and didn't follow through with it, because there's no shortage of that. Um, but so many of you guys have been here to support me through this, and and the defamatory narratives have had extreme disabling effects on me, to where small tasks become these large tasks, and running a couple errands is like the hardest thing in the world, where before all this trauma and everything, it wasn't something that I even had to think about. It was just something I just had all this shit and I would have to do it. And now it's like the mindset to go through and to prep myself mentally to do it has really disabled me. It's disabled me on a few fronts. And so that's why it's important that I get some type of remedy for the defamation. Because it has affected me, and besides the weight of everything else, besides just the felonies, like having one felony, well, fuck with you. I got 6 of them, and I have this carrot dangling, and I've had it dangling in front of me for months and months of just taking a misdemeanor. I'm just not interested in it. Like, if you put me in jail, then I just get the rest. I'm just not afraid of it. And not only am I not afraid of it, but right now, this is making my legacy. The 60 misdemeanors are just like nothing. That was just like a pre-show. It changed everything, though. It made people interested in what was going on outside of all this hate, because I got really sucked into this hate. And I'm not going to be sucked into it again. There's a little sucking in with the court cases, and it was extremely hard for my sister's suit. I was the 4th day of that. I was just mentally, and that fucked me up for like, I think it's been like 2 weeks. That fucked me up for like 2 weeks. Just being in it for like 4 days and just like so disgusted by it. And so disgusted by it because I was fucking there for her. I redid their whole basement. Just laying tile on Friday nights when I wanted to be out and about, like just putting in the work, tracking down all their electrical, figuring out all the electrical on that house, and then I gave them a whole summer on the other 3-plex, like on the front too. Like the vast majority of it was on the front. I did the work before I was paid, and I did other work. I was working like 7 days a week. And now I don't want to work at all. And I can't work at all. I'm like handicapped in this sense, both physically and mentally. The car wreck fucked my shit up, but mentally it's been more fucked up from all this weight of all this lies and these defamatory false narratives, the false light, the defamation by implication, the defamation per quid, and all of the defamation per se by a large group of people. And it's amazing that I've made it through and I'm still standing. And now I'm on the attack. And I'm in a position. When the lawyer told me, make an offer, how that felt, where I'm like, what I'm feeling right now, make an offer. Okay. I'm on the draw. Like we're in negotiations now for the harm that has been done to me. So, and I can negotiate, and I've given the warnings, and I've tried my best to make the problems go away, and it's just been amplified. So, shout out to all y'all for being here as I struggle through my trauma as a victim of it all. Oh, I'm not running up any stairs or eating any raw eggs. I'm just going to sign off now. Thank you, chat, for being the most amazing. To all your little defamation hoes, keep it up. Keep it up. Y'all have a great morning or a great night. I'm about to pass out. I need to stop napping during the day. All right. Later, y'all.